name's Ahri Tallon, and this is a marketing case study on the Troy Library book burning party. The purpose of this case study is to understand the context of the campaign, analyse the types of marketing theory used, and suggest alternative and additional marketing strategies. So, the campaign to save the Troy Library was run in the micro-environment to save the Troy Library in Michigan in the USA. This was in the context of the financial crisis in the US, which caused a corresponding drop in property values, which meant a drop in income to the council from rates. The result was a cut in services from the city council, which meant that the Troy Library lost funding in the limited council budget. Requests for a tax increase to keep the library open were twice opposed by citizens in balance. This was partially a result from the macro-environment anti-tax sentiment that had been sweeping the nation as a result of the Tea Party movement. The library supporters were losing the battle of advocacy by simply promoting the yes vote without a marketing strategy. As a result, the library was scheduled for closure unless a final vote for a tax increase was supported, which would give it more funding. So the crunch point for the library supporters was that their objective was to keep the library open by getting sufficient funding through a tax increase. However, the key problem was that people weren't appreciating the value of the library to the community because they were too caught up in opposition to tax increases. So, some of the key problems and solutions the campaign faced was that the anti-tax message dominated, and they needed to somehow reinforce the value of the library without talking about the tax message and reinforcing that. The campaign history of failure meant that voters could be dismissive of new attempts to influence the issue, so they had to be innovative and really change the branding of the campaign. Voters were also disengaged, and this meant that they had to figure out a new way to engage voters with something that would not only break through the anti-tax message, but really trigger their passions and make them want to be involved in keeping the library open. A lack of financial resources meant that the campaign needed to be really financially efficient with its promotions mix and its use of advertising. And finally, the vote was at a low turnout time of year in the summer when people were on holidays. This meant they really needed a way to agitate people enough to turn out for a vote to support the library. Some of the theoretical background which I've used to analyse this campaign has come from George Lakoff's book, Don't Think of an Elephant. He talks about the difference between nurturing and strict parent frames and how this influences politics, the conservative and progressive sides and value systems. So the tax trigger, tax word as a trigger has been developed by conservative politics to really be part of the strict parent frame of it's a negative thing on a tax on working families, and that the community needs tax relief because this instills the values of individualism and protecting the family against imposition from other forces and other powers, and support of a small government and free market and neoliberalist way of working through politics. So in this situation, because this argument was so well embedded, the idea that just promoting the value of the library to the community and the accessibility of it wasn't going to work. To understand the cognitive processes of the way the community was thinking meant to realise that talking about tax was actually just going to inflame the situation further. So they needed to get out of the negative frame of the tax issue. So this meant that the marketing theory of the tax frame, in terms of positioning the tax issue by the Tea Party supporters opposing the tax increase, meant they couldn't use any sort of campaigning that mentioned this because it was negatively perceived by the community. So this is why the big idea of book burning was so effective because it used a marketing theory that repositioned the whole campaign issue with integrated marketing communications. So they did this by using an undifferentiated strategy to appeal to as many voters as possible. They needed an innovative and disruptive application of social marketing to reposition the frame of debate. And they then turned the frame to focusing on the threat to progressive values if the library is shut, as it would be equal to a book burning party. To do this, they had to change the brand personality of the library from a tax liability to a community asset, and as a symbolic stand against book burning and stand for the values of reading and education. So in this way, book burning was an issue, reinvigorating way to escape the anti-tax frame and dramatise the challenge to progressive values through the fear appeal of books being burned. So some of the key lessons that were learned from the original campaign was knowing when to change strategy, the effective use of resources through integrated marketing communications, e.g. putting signs in people's yards, finding the values that the public shared. So they focused on education for kids, opportunities for the unemployed, and homework help for students, jobs for the staff of the library when they were talking about the positives of the library. They also used the intervention marketing theory through a hierarchy of effects to disrupt the discussion, challenge progressive values, and thus reposition the issue, and then refocus the discussion on the threat to progressive values, promoting and communicating the values that support the importance of the library. This resulted in a massive voter turnout, which ended up saving the library. So one alternative strategy that could help the library in Troy if this situation were to take place again would be a campaign that involves showing the need for the services the library provides and how everyone needs the help it provides. So for example, helping with teaching people to read. So this could be done by using different mediums to promote requests of can you help with reading or finding a job or homework assistance. These different requests could be put in articles in the paper, in notes on billboards, notes at the shopping centre, on corkboards, in letterbox drops, and they'd be organised randomly by individuals identifiable with no group, but all using the same hashtag Can You Help and linking to a Facebook page called Can You Help Troy, where requests from different people for help would be posted. The promotions mix would include advertising through letters to the paper, posts on Facebook, signs on street poles, and billboards finally just calling out for help. It could also involve engaging respected education sector public figures to talk and blog about the value of the library, as well as segmenting the electorate target market to focus on communications on citizens who may not realise the value of the library through direct experience. Continued communications material from the Troy Library supporters would involve stories about the flow on from individual to community value the library creates, to students, the elderly, the unemployed, reminding people about the help it provides. A large interactive marketing door knock event would sign up people to help with teaching people to read if the library is shut. However, close to the vote, the Twitter accounts and Facebook pages' true purpose would be revealed and would then focus on the help the library provides the community, promoting a yes vote because sometimes we all need help. People who signed up to help with reading, for example, would then be engaged with materials to promote the yes vote and to volunteer on voting day. So this strategy is a very grassroots strategy that it aims to involve people to help in the way they would need to if the library was shut down, and could be effective in communicating the need for the library because people would realise how much people need help. However, the nature of the communication material for a while doesn't directly refer to the library, and this may be a weakness of the strategy in that it doesn't agitate people to get the high voter turnout. Some of the future recommendations for preserving the library include an annual celebration to engage supporters and promote the value of the library. Regular marketing campaigns promoting the value of the library. Surveying the community to find out about perception and values regarding the library. Running annual focus groups to assess perceptions about the library. Setting up new media and online communication platforms for the library to continue its supporter base, and building up that supporter base for other strategies. So hopefully these activities would then lead to a sustainable existence for Troy Library. Some suggestions for future interventions in situations like these would be telling the whole story in terms of why the taxes are trying to be decreased and cut, and helping the community to understand the whole problem of lack of funds for the council and the whole solution in terms of what's going to create more jobs and increase property prices. Also, better information about the value of the library, the value of public services, the value of charity services, so that people know what it's worth. And also reframing the debate to validate the necessity of tax, which is about asserting the role of government and empowering the community to support necessary tax. Thank you for your time and good day.